cycle funding.
Do you want me to read it?
No, it's okay.
Jenny, thank you for this question. You're asking me to correct information set out in a TfL press release. And, of course, at the time this press release was issued, which I think was June 2008 and 28th May 2009, they were correct. Those represented the plans for investment in cycling. In the first instance, in 2008, we almost got up to the level of spending that you want to see. It was 44 out of 55 million. And then the following year, if you'll remember, what happened was that we decided to rephase the cycle superhighways. So we didn't spend quite the super colossal amount of public money that I know you would have wanted to see spent on cycling, but we did nonetheless spend a pretty stupefying sum of 57.1 million. I think that was pretty good going. And what I would ask you to do is rather than, and you will say these press releases were misleading at the time. I'm sure that at the time they were issued in good faith. Those did represent the intentions, and what we're doing particularly now is rephasing the delivery of cycle hire and the cycle superhighways. That's what we did last year, in order to take account of very different financial circumstances. And I think most people will understand that. And what people will want to see is, rather than just water cannoning money at things and justifying your existence in that way and thinking that you're promoting cycling simply because you're spending huge sums of money on it, what they will want to see is the increase in ridership, and they'll want to see people using more hire bikes, and that's certainly what we're achieving.
I'm glad you used that word misleading, because I was wondering how to work that in. I don't think for one moment the TfL didn't put out these press releases in total good faith. I don't doubt that.
Well then, good.
What I do doubt...
Then why did you say
No, let Jenny respond.
What hasn't happened since is any correction on those figures. Because in 2008, you claimed to be spending 55 million, and you actually said, I say you because obviously you were quoted in the press release, and you are, as you've told us before, TfL, so I say you. You said a record 55 million to be invested in cycling this year, which was a 10 million increase over the budget that had been planned. But you actually didn't spend that extra 10 million. It was carried over into the next year, and at no stage have you, TfL, ever put the record straight?
Well, no, just to be fair to us, I think I did have several discussions with everybody about the necessity to rephase the cycle superhighways. And that was a well-known fact. They are coming in more slowly than we'd originally wanted. But, we're facing a pretty serious fiscal crunch.
Of course, that isn't my point.
We have to take some steps to economise. I think most Londoners will look at what we're doing on cycling and actually think we're doing an incredible amount.
In 2009, you claimed to spend 111 million, which was a record amount. You mentioned this press release. The Mayor and TfL are investing a record £111 million this year. Now, you actually only spent 57.
I just said that,
just
Jenny.
Over half. You weren't using the figures, Mr. Mayor. You weren't using the figures. You were using words like stupefying and huge and things like that. You actually spent...
I said it wasn't super colossal, but it was stupefying.
You actually spent just over half, okay? So now we've still got 64 million in 2 years that you have claimed to spend that hasn't been spent. Do you get my point?
No. Well, I see what you're driving at. But
Londoners, and you've misled cyclists about how much you're spending on cycling. And that amount of money could easily have delivered the London cycling network, which you have stopped building, and which you will now apparently never finish. Well, so the money left unspent could have been spent on the London cycling network.
I understand what you're saying. And I think you were kind enough at the beginning of your remarks to say that at the time those press releases were issued, and that's really what you're commenting on, they were issued in good faith. And it is still true, irrespective of the fact that we weren't able to push quite that amount of money out of the door, we still spent a huge sum of money on cycling. We have the Cycle Superhighway programme underway.
But you've never set the record straight. You've never admitted that you only just spent over half what you promised to spend.
Well,
do you see that you can't promise to spend something and get all the credit for the promise.
I don't
and then
remember getting
not
any credit from you
spend it.
for anything, Jenny. I don't remember. In fact, I think at every stage you've cavilled and carped about just about everything we've done on cycling.
I think it's time you came clean and you admitted that you have misled London, you have misled cyclists on how much you have spent. In the first 2 years you were here, you actually spent £64 million less on cycling than you claimed to spend.
Well,
are you not embarrassed in the least?
No, because as I said, at the time those press releases were issued, those represented the spending proposals. You're particularly aerated about the second year, 09-10, where, as I say, we made it abundantly clear that we were rephasing the cycle superhighway programme. So I don't think you can beat us up too much, Jenny. We have invested a huge amount of money in cycling, but we are facing a massive fiscal crunch. It's very difficult.
Nobody's arguing about the crisis we're in. What I'm arguing about is the fact that you promise money you don't deliver. And I think that is misleading London. You should always set the record straight.
I think what you need to do is you need to reset your approach, because it isn't always about spending money. You know, that is not an end in itself. To spend taxpayers' money is not the final goal of politicians. The final goal of politicians is to increase the sum of happiness of their electorate. That's
This is
what we're
about
trying to do.
delivering on your promises. It's about delivering on promises and not telling Londoners something that isn't true.
Well, you know,
Thank you,
Jenny,
Chair. I'm not getting any